may never know every subtle difference, but gender is one topic that people tend to just leave opinions wavering in an agree to disagree bubble. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. When both these different species from different planets come together, it becomes a whole different world. When a man is in a relationship with a female, on some odd days, the man will probably feel like the female is from another planet. These thoughts could possibly come from the clashing of opinions between male and female and their different beliefs. No matter how many differences we could see between these two genders, no one could argue that there are similarities between the two genders, such as matters of the heart, feelings, or just simple day-to-day thoughts. However, society has a different view towards this perspective. In this video, you will come across the views of UKZN Edgewood campus students who will be expressing their different views on gender in a sociological perspective.
I'm going to talk about what is gender. So gender is it's general descent. It's understood as a psychological or like a social and cultural difference.
Hi guys, I know there's been a lot of questions, speculations and assumptions as to what gender actually is. Many people even mistaken gender as sex, yet those things are too different. So here my group will be presenting to you guys as what gender is, as well as what conflict theorists and the functionalist theorists say about gender, and the critiques about those views of conflicts and of those theories actually. So I know when this video ends, you'll be in a better position to know what gender and sex is.
Greetings to everyone. I'm going to talk about what is gender. Gender is a social constructed definition of a woman and a man. It is not same as a sex and it is not same as a woman, but gender is determined by the conception of tasks and functions and a role attributed to women and male in society and in public and private life. Generally, gender in a general sense it is understood as the state of being male and female, typically used with references to social and cultural differences rather than biological one. Having a penis or having a vagina does not determine the characteristics or defines our gender, but they only defines our physical appearance or our physical being as a woman and a man. Thank you.
The sociology of gender examines how society influences our understandings and perception of differences between masculinity and femininity. We examine how this in turn influences identity and social practices. We pay special focus on the power relationships that follow from the established gender order in a given society, as well as how this changes over time. Gender and sexuality are not just personal identities, they are social identities. They arise from our relationships to other people, and they depend upon social interaction and social recognition. As such, they influence how we understand ourselves in relation to others. Gender, like all social identities, is socially constructed. Social constructivism is one of the key theories sociologists use to put gender into historical and cultural focus. Social constructivism is a social theory about how meaning is created through social interaction, through the things we do and say with other people. This theory shows that gender is not just a fixed or innate fact, but instead it varies across from time to place.
State that the roles of genders arise from the need to establish division of labor that help maintain a smooth running of families as well as contribute to the stability of society. This is why girls and boys are taught different approaches in life. Boys are taught instrumentally teaches them that they should be goal-orientated, focus on tasks, and be concerned with family relationships outside social structures. Girls are taught to be expressive. This means that they should express their emotions, and this also means that they have to look for and react to others' emotions. Now, the functionalist perspective of gender equality is a product of time, describing that realities of gender roles and equalities of the 1950s, but not explaining them. The functionalist perspective is less useful for describing the realities of gender roles in the post-industrial age, in which women are now allowed to go out into the work field and work and have careers, while men stay at home and look after children and take up home chores as well as look after children. More research is needed in order to obtain a perfect understanding of gender roles in the 21st century.
Hi everyone, I'm NOKUPHIWAS. I'm going to explain more about conflict theory, the views of conflict theory in gender. Basically, I'm going to be answering the question B, which says we have to explain more about the views of conflict theory in relation to gender. Okay, firstly, I would like to explain what is conflict theory. According to Karl Marx, conflict theory is a disagreement which comes between two classes, in disagreement about the limitation of resources. Mostly we refer to the Portuguese and also the proletarians, where the Portuguese feel more powered and the other feel less from the other. Then, when we're looking to conflict and gender, the women feel less powered than men. The men are the dominant group who feel more power than women, so they take women as the assistants of the men. As you can see here in a picture, this man is fighting a woman. So now a man feels more powered because now he is able to fight a woman, then the woman is powerless in this situation. As you can refer to long time ago incidents, women were not allowed to own a certain property or a certain place on their own. Men were allowed to have a property, so which means men had more power more than women. So then conflicts come across in those circumstances in relation to gender. So that's where the view of conflict in gender is accommodated. Thank you.
In addition, through the socialization process, boys and girls are frequently taught different views. For example, the sons are typically told that real boys don't cry, they're strong, they control their emotions. So, they are softer emotions, while the girls are taught not to fight, not to show their anger or aggression. They must obey to the guys. So the functionalists refer to these different worldviews as instrumentality and expressiveness. So the instrumentality is a worldview that includes an emphasis on tasks, a focus on long-term goals, and concern for the relationship between one's family and other social institutions. To teach this attitude, for example, boys may be taught to be goal-orientated by encouraging them to participate in team sports in which they compete and strive to win, or build models or other long-term projects where gratification is not immediate. So the expressiveness, on the other hand, is a worldview that includes a concern for maintaining harmony and emotional affairs internal to the family. And the girls typically taught to be more emotion-orientated as opposed to emotional than the boys. For example, the girls are often taught how to express their emotions and look for the reaction and emotions of others. So this means that they must take care of other people. And the socialization process, gender roles can be so subtle that when disparity between the way that they teach and treat their daughters and sons is pointed out to many parents. So they often respond to the sexes that are naturally different, not to biologically and behaviors as well. So these divergent ways of interacting with the world are mutually supportive. For example, by being expressive and maintaining a harmonious home and family life, so that women free men, such as in the responsibilities, thereby enabling them to go out to the world and focus on long-term goals and making a better future for their families. So,
here are some of the critiques on gender theories. Conflict theory in gender tends to focus much on functions which institutions perform, ignoring negative ways in which institutions and socializations can have on certain people. For example, according to feminists, women are being oppressed in patriarchal families, where they have to do more heavy domestic duties compared to males.
Good day everyone. Today I'll be clearly elaborating more on the critiques of the functionalism theory and the conflict theory. Firstly, the conflict theorists focus more on the micro level and tend to forget about the macro level. They also emphasize more on gender inequality and inequality and competition amongst the two genders. In functionalism theory, the critiques that I can state on, the functionalists have a rose-tinted view of society. In what way, if you may ask? They focus too much on the positive functions and they tend to forget the negative side or turn a blind eye on the negative side. Traditional nuclear family oppresses women dependent on men, since men are working and women are seen as not working because the only work that they do are the domestic work or the house chores, if I can say. That the domestic work is the hardest work ever that a person can do, because there are a lot of chores at home and everything. The stay-at-home moms are oppressed in a way because the working father benefits from the free labor that women do, emotional and domestic labor. Also, the functionalists ignore male dominance that is often present in the society. Furthermore, the sexual division of labor is not universal, if I may say, with the relative roles of women and men in modern families can be seen to be gradually changing. Also, despite most people being socialized into tradition.
Hello everyone, I'm here in front of you. I'm going to do question number C, which is the critiques actually. According to conflict theory on gender, they focus more on the positive functions that institutions performs, ignoring the negative ways in which institutions and socialization can have in certain people. Feminists, for example, argue that the traditional nuclear family, which is seen as necessary by person, it oppresses women as they are expected to fulfill the role of housewives, which then make women to be dependent on men for an income at homes. as women are going to be denied to go out there and explore the world on their own, or use their different skills that they have in order to obtain a better salaries in different works or jobs, they are being punished by doing those little activities at homes, of which is cooking, washing, like looking at the eye, cleaning the eye actually, which then deny the woman to have a large amount of money as men's, since men's they are able to go out there and work at better places compared to women actually. They also ignore the really dark side of family life, which is domestic violence, which is mostly done by men over women, where you find out the man is punishing the woman in different forms of punishment, because men have power more than women, of which is not good, by the way. Thanks.